The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network. Any questions or concerns about what is said should be directed to the show host, whose information will be provided upon request.
You're live in 5 seconds.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to
Let's Talk Money 2020. It's Friday, 9/11/2012.
Today's topic is really came from my colleague and my video guy, Bob. He came in this week and we were talking about taxes, and he knew someone who owed some taxes, and I go, how much does this guy owe in taxes? Well, he said he doesn't know. So I said, well, why can't he get his own balance? He said, well, he doesn't know how to do that. So I told Bob, I said, hey, look, man, I think this is probably a good time for me to actually do a video on how to get your own tax balance from the IRS. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So really getting your balance from the IRS is not a big deal. You're going to need a few documents. You're going to need a few items with you. Your last tax return that you filed is probably a good start. You're going to need a credit card. You don't need to pay to get it, but they need to validate who you are, phone number, email address, that sort of thing. And of course, your usual stuff, your name, address, and that sort of thing. So I'll get to that. But basically, you go to irs.gov, and then you're really going to see two options when you get there. Basically, they changed this page a lot, so don't necessarily try to memorize exactly the exact buttons, because they changed the site quite a bit. So I just want you to just memorize how to get there. So for example, view your account. Okay, so if you click that one, that would tell you what your balance is and your payment history and that sort of thing, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then there's another link I want to talk about today, and it's get your tax records. So let me tell you the difference between the two before we get started. So to let's see, view your account. I don't have my glasses on today. So view your account. That's basically just getting your overall account balance and your payment history, and you can hit on some links, and you can go to view my transcripts as well. But the main thing for view my account is just that you're trying to see how much you owe. Right, and I think that's the $1 million question, and what Bob had for me earlier was how much does the guy owe, and this is where you go to find out if you just wanted to know what your balance is with the IRS. Now keep in mind, this is just the IRS. This is not state governments. Each state has its own way of displaying how much a person owes, or some states just don't have that capability. So the other one is get your let's see here, get your tax record. So basically, you're getting like different transcripts. There's four basic types of transcripts that you can get from the IRS. I'll name them now, and I'll get to them a little bit later. But there is a return transcript. There's a wage transcript. There's an account transcript. And then there's a tax return transcript. So I'm gonna explain to you what the differences are. It's not complicated at all. It's just based on what type of data that you're looking for. But first, I'm going to show you how to get the balance. All right. So what I did was I took screenshots of the website. I thought it was better to do that than to show live websites and kind of fumble and make mistakes as far as keying in, entering my username and password. I don't want you to sit through that. So basically, I took certain screenshots. So here's some things you're going to need. you're going to need your stuff you should already have. Your full name, email address, birth date, social security number, tax filing status on your last filed tax returns or the last few tax returns that you filed, and then your current address, and then you can proceed. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to come in here, you're going to set up an account. So, again, I got the same screen again. Before you get to this part where it tells you actual balance, let me just talk a minute about that. You're going to create an account. You're going to need those things that I just mentioned to actually create your account. So once you create your account, you can log in, and it'll tell you immediately what your balance is. You don't have to go fumbling through a whole bunch of stuff. It will tell you what your total balance is. And this one has zero balance, and this is hopefully everybody has a zero balance, but we know that's not the case, right? But if you don't have a zero balance, it's okay too. You could actually give us a call at our number 301-474-1040, and we can walk you through the process, or we have our own way of getting transcripts as well, or our balances as well. So one other thing I want to talk about here, there is a section where you can actually select how you want to pay. If you want to come in and pay your taxes, you can click that button there, and there will be some options come up to tell you how to actually make payment. Also, you can actually see, I think it's 5 years of your actual tax payment. So 5 years of tax payments, you can actually see those right here. I kind of white those out. My tax payments here, so you can see my tax payments. There's another button I told you about that you can actually tell. You can really figure out how to actually pay. So you can have it come out of your bank account. That's free charge. But if you do click on the debit and credit card, then I think there's almost a 3% charge from that. I think it's 2.7 something. So that's how to actually view your account balance. So it's important to view your account balance just to get an overall display of what you owe. It's going to add up all the years, interest, penalties, and all that sort of thing. That's a good starting point, but I wouldn't really stop there. I would drill down and try to figure out, what's driving your balances year per year, how much is interest, how much is penalty, because that starts to determine whether you might want to consider doing an offer compromise or try to negotiate something with the IRS where you're not paying so much in penalties, so much in interest, and that sort of thing. If you want to actually know that kind of detail, you're going to have to go a step further, and you're going to have to get the transcript option. And that is get your tax record. I don't know why they call it get your tax record. They should just call it transcripts, right? Just make that a whole lot easier. So if you click on the get your tax record here, you're going to come to a whole different screen here. So I'm assuming that you've already created your account. You're going to see the first thing that pops up is you're going to see a drop down, and it's basically asking you why do you want to see your transcripts. 9 out of 10 times, if you're just trying to figure out what your balances are per year or some other thing that you're trying to figure out, you're going to click on federal tax. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger here. I probably can. Let's see here. Let's see. Well, if we make this slightly bigger. Yeah, it's got a little bit bigger. So you can go in here, and you basically going to pick federal tax. If you were trying to get your tax information for some other reason, whether you're a mortgage company or something like that, you're going to pick another option. But federal tax is the option that you want to use generally as far as getting your account transcripts. So let's continue. All right, so I just gave you a bigger page of that. So once you get in here and you pick federal tax, you're going to see the 4 different transcripts that I just mentioned. You're going to see a return transcript. You're going to see an account transcript. You're going to record of account transcript. You're going to see account transcript, and you're going to see wage and income transcript. Let me just go through the differences between the 4. So a return transcript is if you want a transcript of how your return looked, on a particular year. It's very detailed. It tells you the gross income. It tells you the types of income that you had. It tells you, so it's like a line-by-line presentation of your tax return. It's not your actual tax return. It's the computerized generated form of your tax return. So it has every line that the tax returns have on them, the subschedules and so forth, but it just doesn't look like a tax return. It's a computer-generated tax return. So you can go back, I believe, 6 years on the return transcript. And then there's a record of account transcript. But first, let me go to account transcript. The account transcript is a very important transcript. This is my favorite one because this tells you a number of things. It tells you who's filing, when you file, the actual date that you filed, the actual date it was processed. It tells you all the adjustments that the IRS might have made to your tax return. They might have added interest. They might have added penalties. It shows all your payments, and this is all per year. So this is very, very detailed. And I'm going to show you an example of one of the account transcripts a little bit later on. So let's do this. Let's go right to a record of account transcript. What the record of account transcript does, it combines your return transcript and your account transcript into one, right? But I like to see the account transcript because a lot of times I'm not interested in every little line item on the tax return. Most of the time the taxpayer has already come to me with copies of the tax return, so I don't necessarily have to look at every line on the tax return. I use a return transcript when a taxpayer comes in and they don't have a copy of their tax return. So it might take the IRS 60, 90 days to actually get the actual copy of the tax return, but I can get a computer-generated tax return pretty much right away. So the return transcript, I use that for when you don't have a copy of your transcript. Copy of your tax return. So the last item I'm going to talk about is the wage and income transcript. So this comes in handy when someone comes in and they say, I need a tax return done, but I don't know where my documents are. I don't know what was reported to the IRS. I need you to help me out with this. So I choose a wage and income transcript just to figure out what those things are. So it's going to give you your W-2s, 1099s, your 1098s, which are mortgage statements. It's going to give you your contributions that you made to IRA accounts. Anything that was actually reported to the IRS, whether it's a brokerage that's reporting your stock transactions, everything is going to be actually tabulated on that wage and income transcript. So again, I use that for when someone needs they need a tax return and they don't have all the documents, or they want to verify the documents that they already have. All right, so let's move on. So type of transcripts, I've already talked about the types of transcripts. When you actually go into the IRS website, you don't have to remember what I'm talking to you about. You can go to the IRS website and you can actually go to a page and it can tell you what the differences are in the transcript. So you don't have to remember that. All right, so, okay. So that was the transcript. I think that was it for that. So now let me show you an actual account transcript, and I think we'll wrap this up once I show you this. So this is what the IRS transcript looks like. You're going to have your tax ID number at the top. You're going to have the date in which you're running the transcript. You're going to have the year and the type of form that you're talking about right here. All right, so this is very important to us, especially with the way we do business, because if you came to me and said you had a large balance, I'm going to run your transcripts. I'm trying to look for several things on your transcript. So I'm going to make things a little easier so you don't have to pay a lot of money for people to do this for you. You can do it yourself. All right, so in this case, this person owed a total of $18,587. They broke it out by the interest, they broke it out by penalty, and they broke it out what the actual tax balance is. So you get to see that cool kind of stuff too. You get to see what kind of tax return did they file. Did they file joint, single, married, filing separately? You get to see all that. you get to see their total income, the total gross income, you get to see the taxable income and some other things, right? You see the spouse's self-employment tax, the taxpayer self-employment tax. You see a lot of stuff here. So the most important thing that I'm looking for is this is the date that they actually filed the return. Right here, say it was August 17, 2010 in this case, and September 20th, 2010 is when the IRS began to actually process, or when they finished processing the return. So on older returns, they typically take a longer time to actually process. I've seen cases where it might take 3 months for an old return to process. So the longer you wait to file the return, basically the longer it takes them to actually file those returns. And I think it's just a matter of workflow. So I pulled 2010 for a reason on this particular transcript. And the main reason why I'm pulling 2010 is because the IRS has a 10-year statute of limitations on when they can actually collect for any tax year. And that 10-year statute of limitations starts to run the time that you either file the return, or the due date, or the date in which the IRS has filed the return on your behalf. So if you have not filed the return for 4 or 5 years, or whatever that period of time is, the IRS is going to file a return on your behalf. So if the IRS files a return on your behalf, usually your statute date starts a little later, because it's going to be several years before they file that return for you. So you got 10 years from the time either the IRS files a return for you, or 10 years from when you've actually filed the return. So in this case, they filed the return on 9/20/2010. I really brought this up for a reason. It's because theoretically, on September the 20th of 2020, which is, it's about to happen real soon, this balance here that I just showed you, this $18,000 balance will actually fall completely off the taxpayer's tax record. So I'm looking at, okay, is the statute is about to expire, and how much time would I tell a taxpayer to actually wait, and the taxes will actually fall off off his record anyway. So what's the use of going in and paying it at this point? So if you walked in my doors today and your statute was, we're here in September 2020, and you filed in September 2010, I'm going to be like, hey, wait a minute here. I'm not going to do anything with this year. We're just going to wait it out and wait for this year to actually fall off the statute. So, and the problem, and the thing is, not much the IRS can really do to actually extend that statute if it's expiring. I mean, it's just by law they have 10 years to collect. Now, state returns don't usually work that way. State returns usually have a longer statutory period, and in some states you don't have an end date on the statutory period. They can chase you forever. But in this case, the statute will actually expire in 10 years from the filing date. So in 2020, this one will fall off. So unless there are certain things that might have happened during the lifespan, if you filed bankruptcy, if you entered into an offer in compromise, they tend to actually put a halt to the statute, so it might extend your statutory period a bit. So I'm looking at the transcript to see what things would have extended the statute. Now, I'm not going to get into every little code, but you see codes that run on the side here, and these codes really tell us as taxpayers a lot of things about what has happened to your taxes. So you're going to see things like payments that were posted to the account. You're going to see interest that was assessed to the account, additional penalties that were assessed to the account. Each code means a different thing. So we're looking for certain codes. We're looking for certain reasons that we can attack certain years and say, wait a minute, either the statute is going to run out, this is not legitimate, tax payments were applied or misapplied in certain years, and they need to be moved over to this tax year. So if I did that, I can actually eliminate some interest and penalties if the IRS misapplied some tax payments. Or if there are garnishments, I can see the garnishments coming out. There's a whole number of things that I can really determine just by looking at the transcript. So there you have it. This is how you actually get your transcript, and this is a copy of the account transcript. So very valuable tools. I would not be afraid if you owe money, especially if you owe money for a long time, to go online and really set up your account and actually try to figure out how much you owe. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, call a tax preparer, call us at 301-474-1040, or our website is www.tdecpa.com. You can call it. You can go to a website or call us, and we'd be more than happy to help you out. Now, we do a lot of tax negotiation with the IRS and state government, so feel free to give us a call. So that's our talk on transcripts. Again, the site is irs.gov. That's your starting point. You can go get these things yourself. So with that, I'll see you next week. Enjoy and have a blessed week.